I'm so excited to be here with you, Gia. Welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here with you. I love spending time with you.
Okay, so I am excited to do this. I'm going to do something that my friend did on her podcast, and she reads the guest bio in front of them so they know what a badass they are.
Okay.
Are you good with that? Gia Wright spent a decade as a fashion editor and a stylist in New York, where she honed her eye for style and detail. It was during this time that she discovered her passion for jewelry design. Inspired to create, Gia began studying metalsmithing and wax carving at Jewelers Institute of America and the Fashion Institute of Technology. The creative journey sparked a natural career evolution, leading her to launch her own line of rebellious jewelry. Her designs seamlessly blend edgy sophistication with a touch of feminine allure, reflecting her personal perspective and love for self-expression. Gia, thank you so much for being here. This is Gia Wright of Social Anarchy Jewelry.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, I'm really excited to chat with you. So I've known you for a while now because you've been in our programs. You came to my retreat last year. We had dinner last night. We completely bonded, all the things. But we started talking a little bit about your journey. I want to share all of that with the listeners today. So why don't you tell me a little bit about your progression and reinvention over the years?
Yes. Well, first of all, thank you. I do want to just reciprocate by saying I love your program. I loved our time together at the creative, what was it?
The Creative Force of Nature retreat.
The retreat. Yes, the retreat. You are an inspiration. And I think you are, really gifted and really can help people see things that, when you're stuck in something you can't see. But starting from the beginning, I always loved fashion. So I went to FIT for merchandising and I wound up as an editor. And I one of my early bosses was obsessed with jewelry. She was styling so much jewelry, calling in so much jewelry. So I just fell in love with jewelry. I was like, oh my God, yeah, like obsessed just as well. And then started taking classes for fun, just a metalsmithing, a wax carving. It just continued that way. And I was always doing it on the side a little bit. And I was like making stuff for friends and people were buying stuff for their bridesmaids. And so it was never really a full-time thing. Until post-COVID, I realized I love jewelry. It's the one thing I can see myself doing for a long time to come. And I just decided, after everything that had happened and life is short and you just need to do what makes you happy and what you're passionate about. So I rented a studio in SoHo in 2023. So it's been about a year and a half since I've had a showroom by appointment only. And I love it. And I'm, things are great and growing. And I'm so excited for the future and what Social Anarchy is morphing into.
Okay. Well, I'm excited to talk about this and unpack this a little bit deeper. We were sitting up in that little waiting area, whatever we were at Raoul's last night. We were trying to sit down to eat dinner. We were talking a little bit about you leaving your editorial job and going to work for your husband before you started Social Anarchy.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about that transition and why, what you loved about it, what you learned about it, what you learned during that process, and the pivot point when you just decided to shift.
Yeah, I think things really changed for me when I became a mother, and I didn't realize how much, I knew I wanted to be a mother, but I always thought I'd just keep working and whatever, I'd be great, just have help and work and be a badass businesswoman. But I wanted to be home a little, more than, I could be home if I was working for corporate. So what I realized, I love, my husband designs high-end residential gyms and travel and leisure gyms, and he's a badass. He does really cool gym design, and it's a full functional health thing. So we kind of fell in love over that.
Yes.
We both are really into fitness and wellness, and we place such a high priority on taking care of yourself. So it was this weird natural progression where he was like, maybe you want to come work for me. Not for me, with me. And he was so supportive. And I was like, yeah, maybe we'll be this badass fitness couple that's gonna take on the world. Because I already know he's going to do insane things. He's already designed over 300 gyms around the world. He's amazing. He's such an amazing person. Gia Wright, you have to check out his
check out Gia Wright.
TheRightFit.com.
Shameless plug.
Yeah. He is just, and he's just such a great guy. So I was like, yeah, I'm going to go work with my husband and this is going to be great. And we did work together for 5 years. And what I realized was that I support his vision and I support his dream, but it's not my dream. Yeah. It's not my, passion. And I love fitness and, I love him. And so it was a great experience and I learned so much, but it made me understand even more. Like it was time for me to just buck up and like do what makes me happy, even though it's really scary. But part of it was because he was never micromanaging. So I'd work hard and I would go to work if I needed to, or I would work from home if I needed to. So that was the deciding factor, I think, where I was like, yeah, I can do this. I can work hard and help him. But you wind up working even more when
I know, when you're always thinking about it.
Yeah.
Yes. So from that point, you working with your husband, Jay's crushing it. He's opening up all these gyms, doing amazing, all the things. What was the point where you said, okay, I'm just going to go out and do my jewelry brand full time?
It was shortly after things had started opening back up for COVID and the gym industry took such a hit. Mm-hmm. Everything he had closed for a long time. Even other things were opening up that, he was like, wow, this is just such a, struggle. So we went through some really hard times.
Right.
And I realized, I'm like, I was so fiercely independent when I met him and I wanted to do so many things. And I was an editor and then I worked in PR and I traveled so much. And we were just two healthy individuals. And I felt like I was becoming reliant on everything that had to, and I was like, this is not me. This is not who I am. So shortly after COVID, I was like, look, we got to make some changes and I need you to support me in this because it's a scary, leap but I'm ready, It kind of came out like I couldn't fake it anymore. It was kind of like trying to do the motions and happy. And I'm like, ugh, I didn't want to go to work. I was just not happy,
So let's talk about that because I think that feeling, like what were you feeling in that moment? It
was hard because you love somebody and then all of a sudden it's like, I didn't want to talk about work anymore. I didn't want to talk about family anymore. I was like, ugh, I was starting to be a little bit resentful we have always had a really strong relationship, but I did start to see we were a little short with each other, maybe me more than him. He was always been so supportive and so sweet to me, like such a sweet guy. But we were at a certain point, COVID, working at home together, living together, working together. It was like, oh my God. So when you fake it for so long, you start to there are many things like can't get out of bed as easily. You start to kind of dread getting ready for work and like, dragging yourself to work. You can't live like that. It's like, you can only do that for so long. And then at a certain point, I'm like, I really need to take, control and like make some changes.
So were you resentful, not necessarily of him, but just of your situation, like feeling like,
Well, what I realized when I started feeling a little bit resentful towards him, I was like, this isn't him. This is not his fault. Mm-mm. Like there's no reason for me to feel anything towards him. But because I had a little bit of that, like, I don't know that I even realized it was resentful towards him, but I was just like not wanting to like spend as much time or like, I can't explain exactly how it kind of went down, but it was like, yeah, just like, okay, I didn't want to talk about things after work. Like the day was done. I'm like, okay, I'm going to bed. I'm going to go,
It's like your excitement for it had changed. Yeah. Why not? I would never say it was like resentment towards him because I don't think that that's what it is. You're just resentful towards your situation. Like, why am I here?
Yeah.
I know I felt that
how did I get here? Like, what choices did I make? Yeah, that's actually very true. Now that you say that, what choices did I make to put myself in a situation where I am just not happy?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But I was nice to myself about it and always sweet to him and just like, tried to understand we all make decisions at certain points in our lives because your life ebbs and flows and things change. And I know I made those decisions because my children, and I wanted to be with them. I wanted to go to every game. They are my sole purpose. And like, I love my business, and I would place it second. I would say like, okay, yeah, like the business doesn't come before my family. And I know that that's not the case with a lot of badass business owners, and that's okay, but I just can't lie. And that's to myself, I just had to make those choices to be where I wanted to be with my kids. It took a toll, and I realized maybe I could have it all. If I choose something I love and I do well, then I can still be that person with my family. And the one thing you taught me when you, I don't know if it's like the first week in Flourish and Thrive, or like the first week or the first module, whatever. It's like, put down how you want your life to look. What do you want out of your life? How do you want your days to go? What do you, how many days do you want to travel? And I think I'd asked myself somewhat questions like that, but never so, I don't know, it was very direct. And what does your every day look like when you go to work? And even if it changes every day, how does it change, And I realized I'm like, okay, I want to be able to, when my children need me, or when there's an event, or when there's something in class, like I want to be there. So how does that work? I have my own showroom, and I have appointments by appointment only. I don't have to be available, Monday through Friday, 9 to
all the
5.
time.
Yeah,
exactly. And your showroom is beautiful.
Thank you.
You live in New York City, or you're here, book an appointment with Gia, because her jewelry is so kick-ass. Like, there's 10 things that I'm going to be buying from her.
Thank you.
When the time is right for me. And I'm very excited for what you're going through. Now, I love what you said about how basically building your business around your family goals, because I do believe that a lot of women want that. Part of the reason why they start a business, or they think they're starting as a business, is so that they can like be there for their kids when the time is right.
Yeah.
I know that this was a huge priority for Jason, because he was a single dad for many years, and he left corporate so that he could actually be there for the games, pick the kids up from school, be able to go to events and travel, like all the things that needed to happen with a more flexible schedule. So I think that that's a really important. And I know that a lot of the moms listening to this show will probably resonate, and that will really land.
Absolutely. I mean, you have to be true to yourself. You can never anticipate how you're going to feel when you have kids. I know people try to tell you, some people want to run to work, and that makes them a better parent. And that's great.
Yes.
There's no judgment by any means, but it didn't make me a better parent. I wanted to be around enough, and I didn't want to be around every second of every day. I'm like, I still wanted to be independent and work and be driven, have purpose other than them. So yeah, it's important to really sculpt out, and that changes, but it's important to constantly be aware of like the choices you're making.
So when did that shift happen, when you decided to step into Social Anarchy and develop the collection and go full-time in the business? What did that look like?
It was so exciting. What I had decided was I was going to have a small archive sale, and I sold in 3 hours more than I had sold ever in a year. Like,
really?
Yeah, it was something like $40,000 in 3
Amazing.
3 hours. And it's weird to say, because sometimes I'm like, well, that was an anomaly, but that's what I had envisioned could be in certain ways. Like I could replicate that if I built a strong enough brand and loyal customers. But it really made me feel confident that I could take that leap.
Yeah.
And it was exciting and scary. I mean, even some days I'm just like, what in God's name have I done? Like, what
starting
am I thinking?
the company?
Yes.
Why?
It's overwhelming sometimes, and I think that's why it's really important to like seek help, seek mentors, seek, classes, and anything that will take you out of the everyday, because sometimes you're so in it that you can't see. You're just like, you get just bogged down with all the to-dos. And as an entrepreneur, you have to do everything. It's everything. So I look at my notes sometimes. I'm like, oh my God, 160 notes. They're all different. And it's like, I'm trying to be organized.
I have thousands.
Yeah.
So bad.
But you have to focus and really look at your year and start to plug in what are the major dates and look at it that way. And then what's priority? What can you hand off? And how can you get help?
Exactly. So I want to know how has community, how has being in the company of like-minded business owners, how has all of that really supported you on your journey?
Yeah, it's funny. When you're an entrepreneur, I think everybody says this, regardless of what business you're in, you can be very isolated sometimes. It's so important to be around people who are like-minded. And that's business and also positivity and also few things. I think it's important to have that good energy around you because you can't figure out everything on your own. There's only so much you can learn by yourself. Whereas like you're fast forwarding, it's like a business degree. You're going, if you find the right group of women and having worked with you and your team changed everything for me. Like I understood so much more about business and how to connect and how to build a brand and how to create desire. That was like really mind blowing. I was like, oh my God, yeah, that's so true. You can see it in other brands. They just do it so seamlessly. And you're like, but to do it for yourself is challenging. So
it's the most important part of building any sort of business and brand, connecting on the things that people actually want.
Yeah.
So that they see themselves in your brand.
Absolutely.
The most important thing. So tell me a little bit about your designs, because first of all, they're so edgy, they're so cool, but they're also fine jewelry. So they're totally my jam. Let's talk a little bit more about that.
Thank you so much.
What's inspiration?
What is my inspiration? I love, for me, quality over quantity. I've always been the same girl. Like it's been, God, if I can think back, I think when I was younger and in editorial, I kind of tried to chase the trends a little bit where it was like, oh, okay, this is in style. Like, let's go here. This is in style. Let's try that. But what I realized, I was always like a jeans and t-shirt girl.
Yeah.
Always. Like from day one. So I really want to be true to myself. I'll try trends. There's nothing wrong with trying a trend you like or following a trend that you think is cool. But social anarchy is really about carving your own path and deciding what makes you happy and what style you like and what makes you feel like what your self-expression is, as opposed to, oh, I've got to have this new chunky necklace or I've got to try this. Like I realized the jewelry I like stands the test of time. So like I don't try new trends, do different things, but it's pretty much like I like edgy. I like things that are reminiscent of like antique. So I love black rhodium. I just think it's so cool and beautiful mixed with yellow gold. So I have a lot of
so pretty. You're wearing here. Is this one of the half tennis necklaces?
No, this is actually a tennis collar. It's a black, white gold dipped in black rhodium. Yeah. And then I'll just wear different yellow gold pieces, lariats, thicker. And like you can see my bracelets. This is a half tennis, half chain. I love
the half tennis thing. I remember we were talking when you were at the retreat and you're like, if I could just sell 3 half tennis necklaces a month, I'd be done. Like it would be so perfect. And they're really, really awesome. Tell me a little bit more about the inspiration for those, because it's an unusual combination.
So tennis necklaces like hit the scene and it was like everyone had to have a tennis necklace and it just like blew up. And I was kind of like, okay, I get it. They're cute. It's nice mixed in with a few things, but it was always this like 16-inch kind of falls right here. And like, I never got it. I'm like, it doesn't feel good to me. Like I never understood that length. They're supposed to face straight out, but they they move around because they're the way that they're made. So I was like, I'm not loving this. I want to do something cool and edgy, like that has that element because everybody loves a little sparkle. So they do. So I was like, okay, I'm going to take this and I'm going to put like an edgy knife edge chain with it and just, kind of mix it, do a little black pop of black rhodium because the black rhodium is just brushed on the prongs. And I love that piece. It's still like, it's, only a year and a half, I think, old, but like, love it. I wear it all the time. It's such a statement piece. It's really special. And I'm glad, like I kind of, at first I was like, oh, it's going to be expensive. I don't know if I should do it. I've pushed myself to do pieces that are a little bit more expensive because I believe in like buying a piece and wearing it for 10 years, but it really has to suit your style, which is why I'm like, don't follow trends. You may think you love something and then a year later be like, oh, this is so out. Like people will say things like, oh, that's so out. This brand is so out. And I'm like, I still like it. I'll wear it.
Well, I think the thing that's fascinating, because as a jewelry designer myself and someone who's been in this industry for so long, I've been wearing the same pieces almost every day for 20 years.
Exactly.
It's so weird. Like these bangles, I made them in probably 2006 or 5. 2006. I think it was after I'd moved to New York City. There were 5 at one point.
Oh,
They keep breaking off
Slowly
some of
but
them
sure.
because they're worn out. And I've had them repaired a few times, but right at the solder seam, they keep breaking because it's thin. So I'm going to have to remake 3 of them, I think.
Yeah.
But I love them. They're part of the signature thing that make me me.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You know, the stack bracelets and everything. I wear the same necklaces. I just added my new hummingbird
I love that.
necklace to it.
It's
and
beautiful.
my friend Jill's leaf necklace.
I love that.
Do you know
Yeah.
Jill? I don't know if you know Jill.
What's her last?
Jill, JB by Jill Jewelry. Jill Jarmel. You may have heard of her.
Yeah, I've heard her name for sure. Yeah.
Anyway, I love it. And then I have a couple of other pieces that I wear. A Herkimer diamond necklace, my ring that I made years and years ago. Always wear it. Same
And
pieces.
that's how it should be. I mean, initially, like, should I get into like the alternative engagement space? Because I just feel like engagement rings, I love diamonds. I think it's just become this thing that's like, you have to have a big diamond and it's this huge diamond on this whisper band. And I'm like, no, thank you.
No.
My husband proposed to me. It was the sweetest thing. I have to tell you this story because it was the sweetest thing. And I will tell you how people reacted to it was not fun or funny. This shows you how like obsessed people are with
Well,
trends.
you're in New York City too.
Yeah. So I was working with this woman she was like a master enamelist for Tiffany and she was a wax carver and she was such a beautiful woman. I mean, I was helping her with this cool company that she was helping her son with. Mm-hmm. And she was kind of hidden in the background. And her son was this like really cool New York guy. Mm-hmm. Like we would, do stuff together. I would help her with all the back end. And she taught me how to like create things and run around the jewelry district and how to source and she was amazing. So she was helping me create this ring that I'd found in an antique ring book. It was gorgeous. It looked this medieval, chunky, big. And she was helping me wax carve, mm-hmm. and I was still not proficient and like, it did not look good, but she helped me out. And apparently my husband stole her number out of my phone, had her create a second wax, and she finished the ring and he chose the stones. And it was like, it looked like an old medieval ring. It had a big Colombian emerald in it. It was
cool.
Gorgeous, with 2 pink sapphires on the side. And it had kind of a knife edge band like mm-hmm. at the bottom. And then the wedding ring was a knife edge. It was badass. Anyway, I get back to work. He proposed at the Palace of Versailles. Like we were having a picnic with wine and like hanging out and just
in Italy?
In
France?
France.
Yeah. Like which country is that?
So
wait, stop.
Yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah.
That's so cute.
Yeah. He's so thoughtful. He's so sweet. And I was like, when he put it on my finger, I was like, what the hell is that? Like it looked familiar. And I'm like, wait, that's my ring. What? I had to like think through it. And when I came back, I remember a girl at work, the first thing she said was, what is that? Like, that's what he proposed to you with did you get that out of a gumball machine? And I was like,
oh my God, what an asshole.
Yeah. I was shocked. I'm like, oh, okay. So you let me know how you do with that, engagement ring, like if you find that guy. I'm like, nobody should be judging anybody. Like, just the whole engagement thing. It's like, to me, I'm like, it's more about what other people think. I loved it. I'm like, I love when somebody shows me their engagement ring and they're like, it's a sapphire because XYZ, or I chose to do this because I love a story. Okay. Anybody can get a big diamond on a band,
exactly.
Like, and I don't like it. And then they're like, oh, make the double, make the travel version so you feel safe when you travel. I'm like, can't even travel with something like what's the point of having a ring that you're afraid to wear?
I totally feel this. I feel like that is a very, very New York thing. And I think that the energy is shifting around engagement rings because I've been talking to so many artists now and they're like, these young women want big ass diamonds, but they don't have a big ass budget. So everyone's doing like lab or moissanite or alternative stones these days. They're not even doing the real diamonds. And it's actually given the diamond industry like a huge hit.
Yep.
It's so fascinating to me.
Yeah.
It's actually fascinating to me that people care about it being so big.
Yeah.
I mean, I sort of get that, but like
I don't think so. I don't think it
like
visually looks great. I'm like,
But part of it too, like in my mind, the way that I think about it is like, do you really want to walk around with something that's like worth $80,000, $100,000, $2 million on your finger where someone might chop off your finger?
Yeah.
Because the stone is so expensive?
Yeah. That to me, and that's exactly what, when I talk about like being a social anarchist, people are like, what does that mean? I'm like, well, don't spend, $80,000 on a bag because somebody says it's amazing. Like you see that in the fashion industry as well. I'm like, really? Like 80,000 or whatever it is. You have to wait 4 months for something. Like just decide what you love and decide what fills your soul and your heart. And like that to me, like it's your choice to be an individual,
Right.
That's what makes us, we're all different.
So let's talk about style.
Yes.
Because there's a difference between style and just following trends, which we kind of touched on earlier, but this is a great segue into that.
Okay.
So how do you describe style?
I think style has everything to do with your own personal journey, your own growth. It may change a little bit, but I do feel like it's ingrained in you. Like you already know, like when I was young, I was a tomboy. So I'm not surprised I like wearing like my combat boots and jeans and a t-shirt. It's never really changed. I mean, maybe the style of jeans change a little bit, but it's funny. I think it's just your individual personal outlook and what makes you feel comfortable. Mm-hmm. It's like, have you ever put on an outfit and been like, yeah, I know, like I saw this on somebody and it looks great, but this does not look good on me. Just it's wearing someone else's style. It's like, it doesn't work.
Well, that's been something, people have said to me, like over the years, people that are close to me, that I've been like a style icon for them. Not because I think I have this amazing style, but one of the things that I've done over the years is like, I only pick things that I like. I don't care about what is trending or having the designer bag or having the most expensive shoes just because they have a red bottom on them. It's really about how you put things together and how you make things look and being able to mix and match things, right?
Yeah.
That might not necessarily go together, but people are like, oh, it works on you.
Amen.
Right?
Amen. And that was us last night, right? We were in our we both had skinny jeans on.
I loved it.
Very different like styles, very different ways. But I'm like, I'm not going to like follow a rule that I can't wear something because, and like you said, it's like, even though the like boots go, they have to go over the jean. I'm like, I'm not wearing
the reason why this came up is because it's really cold in New York City right now. And when I was packing, since I don't live here anymore, like I could bring my wide leg jeans or my bell bottom jeans, but number one, they're going to drag on the floor because I don't have high enough boots to wear with them so they don't drag when I'm walking around the city. And also the cold air is going to get up there. It doesn't make sense.
Right?
So I didn't bring them. And I'm like, I'm bringing my 5-year-old skinny jeans that are not apparently in style. Although I was listening to this interview with a stylist recently, and she's like, skinny jeans never go out. So don't listen to what anyone says.
I agree. Yeah.
They just don't. And I feel like that also, the way that you wear your jewelry and you carry yourself with all the other things is like a huge style statement.
You're saying me? Thank you.
Anyone, but also you have an amazing
Well, I wanted to say you too. Like I see like your style. I'm like, I love your style. Like you rock your style. But if I was to try and take that and be like, okay, Tracy, like she wore this with this, it'd be like, okay.
This might not work for you.
Yeah, it's not going to work for me. But it's nice to appreciate. And you pick and choose the things that you find, like you're getting this hat.
I'm getting the hat. Yeah. I really like your hat. I never wear baseball hats outside of like working out, but it's really cool. I'm like, maybe I could style that with like when my hair is a little greasy,
Yes.
What are your biggest challenges with launching your brand and getting out there today?
As a designer, or as an entrepreneur, there's so much noise. There's so much noise. It's about cutting through all the noise. And trust me, I'm still growing. And I'm so happy. I've had like my first year and a half, close to 2 years in business. I've hit goals that I've wanted to hit, and I'm so excited and I feel, really lucky, but there's a long way to go. Mm-hmm. So I feel like, really creating an authentic brand that is clear and also, cutting through all the noise, being authentic, like instead of really working towards connecting with people and creating engagement instead of, massive following or.
So much better though.
So much better. I mean, the clients that I've had for years and years and years, I mean, you can't you really start to understand how important it is to build relationships and grow through networks and personal experiences.
So tell me a little bit more about that. When you're meeting with people and they're finding you on Instagram and DMing, what's your strategy to kind of turn them into a customer?
So jewelry is really tough to buy online. I understand that.
Especially fine jewelry, I feel like.
So
it can be done. I don't want anyone listening to think that it can't be done. It can be done, but typically they need a conversation first.
Yes.
It's not going to just be a point and click sale with no conversation.
Yeah, there's a warm-up period where they're introduced to you, then they really get to know you, and then they trust you. I think sometimes people, if they haven't seen, it's good to have model shots and make sure that you can really see sizes, but also people are different sizes. So like even an ear, something may look very different. I encourage people to come just try stuff on. You really don't know how it's going to look until you try it on. And I think I'll do a Zoom call and I'll, show people how things look. I'll try things on, or I'll just encourage them to come into the studio to make an appointment and just try stuff on. And I never push my clients to buy stuff. I'm like, look, if you love it, but you're not sure, take some pictures and think about it. If you're still thinking about it, a week later, 2 weeks later, you want it, you want to wear it every day. It's like sometimes you buy something and you throw it in your closet, you never see it again. It's like, buy something you want to wear tomorrow, you want to put on. But yes, definitely just try to encourage people to come try things on. And my goal within the next year would be to get some wholesale accounts in New York and start to move across the nation with wholesale accounts so people can try things on wherever they are.
I love that. Also, and you're doing some virtual styling sessions as well?
Yes.
And that works?
It does.
Okay. Yeah. Great. I love it. That's one of my favorite little hacks for people. I'm like, make it easy. Do a virtual styling session.
Yeah.
And I think some people have the turn well, my time, am I just going to get people doing it who aren't going to buy? But there can be some parameters around that, right? Yeah. You can have a minimum order with it, or you can pre-vet people before you get on a styling session.
Yeah.
I think is really powerful.
Yeah. Set a time limit.
Yeah.
This is how much time I'm going to, and then ask some questions beforehand to get prepped and ready. So you already know what they're interested in or what they want to see. And everything, there's always legwork. Right. And if you're going to go do a pop-up, or you're going to have an event somewhere, or everything there's time and energy. If you want to nurture relationships, you need to spend the time. And then if you start to get too busy, well, that's another thing. You'll kind of shift and figure out
what's next, or get an assistant.
Exactly.
To help you sell more, which is so good.
I'm ready for that.
So you just designed this amazing studio space in SoHo. I love it. In an iconic building. I walked in yesterday and I'm like, you go, Gia, because this is an amazing space. So tell me a little bit about the process and decision to actually I feel like in New York, especially committing to a studio space or somewhere where you're seeing clients, it's a big investment.
Yes.
So what was the thing that kind of catapulted you into that and made you say, okay, I got to figure this out so I can grow?
That's actually a good story. So it's funny. After I'd had this archive sale with a handful of ladies, and it was in the evening, there was some cocktails, and it was a great event. I was doing it in home. These were people that I knew for years. So I felt comfortable, right?
Right.
So I had this great event. I was buzzing, literally buzzing. I was like, oh my God, that was so much fun. And everyone's so happy. And they're they love the stuff. And, I love giving people that feeling when they're like, oh my God, I love this. Oh my God, I love this. I want to wear this. I was like, wow, I could do this. But I can't have people coming into my home. This is not feasible. And I had been doing a little bit of consulting with another jewelry company where I was helping them just figure out what to do with maybe some pieces that needed some reworking, or anyway, I was doing some consulting with another company who had an office across the street from me. So the Cable Building in Soho is a beautiful, iconic building. And I was like, let me just see if there's any space in there. And because I had been to the offices to do some work with them, and the offices were great. So long story short, there was a space available. It was perfect size. Everything about it was perfect. And it just happened really quickly. And, yeah, it was the best thing I ever did.
So great.
Yeah.
I love that it's like almost like you're taking the business to the next level by taking it out of your house. When I was designing custom engagement rings here in New York, one of the reasons why I chose the building that I was in, because they had spaces that I could meet clients in that weren't necessarily inside of my apartment. And it creates an additional layer of safety, for people coming into your home.
Yes.
But also a different level of professionalism.
Absolutely.
Right.
I mean, I had to do all the things. I had to get an alarm system. I have a camera. I have, a safe. And, it changes your mindset and changes how you think about things and how you spend money and how you budget. And yeah, it's important to, I think any creative person who's going to change a career, kind of dabble in it at first and play with it. And then when you're ready to make the transition, commit fully. Because if you don't commit fully, you're always half in, half out. You're not going to have success. It's hard enough as it is, even if you're fully committed. It's work. You work really hard to be successful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We all do. I want to just ask you a couple questions about the Laying the Foundation program, because I know you took it.
Yes.
Laying the Foundation is our signature 12-module program for jewelry business owners who are wanting to create desire and demand for their jewelry brand. Tell me about what was going on with you when you decided to take that program.
I was floundering. I was like, do I want to do this? Do I not want to do this? Should I do this? Can I do this? And I had taken business courses before, well-known business courses, but they did not resonate with me at all. And I don't know, it didn't work. When I'm not sure if I started to see it on Instagram or however, I think it was Instagram. And I was like, And then I started watching some of your stuff, and you had given out, free, maybe a boot camp or something. And I was like, wow. I was just this is 100%. I need to do this, because anybody who's going into business, especially creative people, I want to be a jewelry designer. If you haven't worked in the industry under somebody who's teaching you, because even if you're just a designer and you work for somebody and you're a designer, that doesn't mean you can go and open up your own business. I mean, you need the 360 spectrum of what are the things you need to do and what do you need to know. It was the best thing I ever did. Anybody who asks me and wants a recommendation, I'm 100%. You have to, it's not even a big investment. If I could say, you have to invest in yourself, and it was not expensive. I mean, what I got out of it was not even an inkling of what I put into it. I feel like there was such a great price for the amount of information you got. It's like going to school and getting a full education on how to start a business. So, and your book is amazing. So
thank you.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of they go hand in hand. I loved everything about it. It takes you through all of the kind of pieces of your business, and it starts from what's most important, that foundation, and how to set up whatever it is, your company. And then it takes you through all of the different aspects of your business. So your website and all the disclaimers that you need to have. And then it goes into, I mean, I don't remember the exact, you probably could reel them off, but things that really pop out is merchandising, how to design the collection so that if you want to sell it, it looks good in a case. And if you want to sell it to a store, or it has to have that cohesive thing.
You've done a really good job with that, by the way. I just want to tell you that.
Thank you. Ever working
in your cases. It's great.
Thank you. Yeah. And then also the pricing. That was always just mind-boggling to me. And then I was like, oh, it's easy. It's a formula, and that's how you do it. So things I would spend hours and hours and hours on, I could just go, oh, this is how you do it. And then just do it. So yeah, I think it was the best thing I ever did, really, for my business.
Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. I love that. What would you say to someone who's thinking about taking that program, who is on the fence?
I would say, do yourself a favor, save yourself a lot of time, a lot of heartache, a lot of energy, and take the course and do it and put yourself through it. It will make you 100 times better. It will make your brand better. It will make you better. It'll help your business in every way.
You also reached out to me about attending my Creative Force of Nature retreat, kind of out of the blue. And this is when I got to know you. I was following you on Instagram, and I wasn't totally clear that you were a student. because, people take the program and I don't know all the students who've gone through it. And I was like, this girl has amazing designs. Like, I love her jewelry. It's awesome. And then you messaged me about coming to the retreat. What was the thing that made you want to come to that mastermind event?
That was so much fun.
It was so great. It was so
It was amazing. I made great friends I still keep in touch with. I knew that I was stuck in my business a little bit, and like just questioning a lot of things and just having a lot of doubt and imposter syndrome, whatever you want to call it. I just needed more. Like I needed to be around other creatives. Again, when you're like a designer or an entrepreneur, you're by yourself a lot of the time. So, it's a weird place to be constantly with your own, thoughts and judging yourself. And so I was like, I really want to do this. The funny thing is the timing was very weird where I had already booked a trip, with my family, and it was like right on the heels of it. So I had to go straight from the beach somewhere to Arizona. And
you were very bronzed.
Yes, it worked out. I looked good. No, I came in looking good. No, I was like, I don't know if I can do this. Like I have to fly out that day. And then the airport at this beach was so small. And it so happened that everything was delayed and I almost missed, the retreats are only a few days. So if you miss one day, it's not good, right? So like everything was just like the timing we're standing in an airport with like airport. I would do that airport. And there's like wild turkeys running around. And I'm like, I'm not going to get to Arizona. I'm going to miss the first day. But I showed up. There were a lot of amazing women. It was a beautiful house. It was like a beautiful scenery for what it was. And then just some amazing guest speakers. I knew I wanted to be around positive, entrepreneurial, women. And Tracy, I'm not saying this just to say this, but like you have an amazing energy. And I think it's hard to find that a lot of times, like women, I know like there's this, movement like women lift up women, but it's hard to find good women who really want the best for you and like groups of women who feel really, and that's what you do. You help women. You really help women build businesses. And it's really special, And I'm like, I knew I wanted to capture a little part of that. I was like, there was a little FOMO. I'm like, I think I should go on this trip. And then I was like, well, I don't know. Do I invest the money? And then I realized, you have to invest in yourself and you can sit there and penny pinch, but at the end of the day, you're not going to grow and learn if you don't invest and choose to grow and to learn in anything you do, whether it's a course, if you go to school, you pay money to go to school. If you want to try something, you have to invest the time, the energy, even if it's free. It was such a great experience. The women were all amazing. I was going to tell you this, but on the way here, I listened to some of the voice memos.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. They were so freaking awesome. And I should really listen to them every now and then. But the thing that you do best, I think, is that you take people out of their like this mind where they're like running. And you're like, slow down. And then you get them into their bodies. So you do like movement and great things that really connect you to the earth because I'm not a woo-woo person. And I think that's where we initially, yes. I'm like, I don't know about this. Are we meditating? Are we doing sound baths? This sounds a little bit, where's the business stuff? But it's a mix of both because I think in life, you need both. You need to be connected and you need to listen to yourself, and I would 100% say to anybody who's considering like trying something, it's only going to better you. I just feel like always invest in yourself. Always look to grow and learn. You can't go wrong that way. And you're the real deal. Like, I feel like I've invested in certain things where I'm like, God, I don't, because I think that's the problem. People will be like, I don't know. Can I spend this money? Right. Like, what if it sucks? It's amazing. The Flourish and Thrive program is amazing. The creative retreat was life-changing for me. Like, we did so many things and we've gotten closer and it makes you realize a lot of personal things and how that relates to your business. And it's amazing.
The thing I love about the retreats the most, and like I almost started crying there because it's hard for me to hear people reflecting back to me what some of my gifts are. The thing that I love the most about the retreats are the space that you get to take away from the day-to-day of the business to actually work on the business. And working on your business isn't just thinking. You're right. It's about getting into your body. It's about moving the energy. One of the attendees there ended up having to like peace out for a little bit of time because she kept moving forward, like kept pushing, and her body was keeping the score. And the body was like,
yeah,
it's time to slow down. When are you going to slow down? Because if you don't, something's going to happen. And so it's amazing what can come out of that. The thing that I love so much is like another one of the women there, all of a sudden she's like, it's coming. She starts just like hysterically crying, like in the middle of something. She's like, wow, I really needed that release. And it's just like, it almost gives you permission to just be the authentic version of you and like really tap into like, here's what I'm gifted at.
Yeah.
Here's my vision for what I'm creating.
Yeah.
Here's where I'm stuck and here's what I need. And then also for me, it was very powerful because you guys gave me a hot seat. We're not going to talk about that, but you guys gave me a hot seat, which I was not expecting.
Mm-hmm.
And it literally changed the course of my career, like for the good at that. I'm like forever grateful to all of you. And now we're in reinvention season because of it. And like I'm reinventing the programs at Flourish and Thrive Academy. I'm launching my new program, The Art of Reinvention, which I'm so excited about it.
So exciting.
I want to hear a little bit more. Was there like one big transformation or one big like change that you left the retreat with?
Well, I did want to mention, I think being amongst people who are all looking for similar, not necessarily looking for the same thing, but looking for growth and for change, there is a real support system there. And I think I left with definitely more confidence in who I am and more confidence to be authentic. Mm-hmm. So that was a big thing, like I had been questioning everything and I was like, oh, and like, everything was just a little bit of a struggle. Whereas when I left, I was kind of like, okay, we're going to move forward. We're going to plan ahead and we're going to just consistently sharpen the saw, consistently like get better and grow and have a big vision for what, what life can look like and what it's going to look like. Yeah, it was a big mindset shift for sure.
Can you remind me what the numbers 88 mean to you?
I don't remember. I remember the horrible painting. It looked like
it's not horrible.
That I tried to leave and you go, wait, you forgot your painting.
You're like, I'm good.
No, I'll leave that here. It's not coming back to New York with me. I'm not taking that home. And then somebody else was like, I picked up the painting, Gia, I can send it to you. I'm like, no, I don't want the painting. Leave it. I'll mail it to you.
One of my favorite parts about the retreat, we do an expressive art project. And this one was, I don't want to ruin it in case we do it again, but it required numbers and the whole thing. I can't remember what my numbers were because I hid them inside the painting.
I can't remember either. I know, but maybe mine had to do with like infinity loops.
I think that's what it was. Infinity.
Yeah.
What's next for Social Anarchy?
Ooh, I'm so excited. So just I think I'm really looking at the year and have some really new, amazing pieces dropping. And I am working with a digital company. So it's going to really, starting to hand things off a little bit. So I'm really excited about that. I think that's going to kind of free me up to really focus on design, and it will just elevate the brand and really showcase the pieces. It's hard doing it all yourself. So social media doesn't look amazing when you're trying to shoot everything and you're just not super talented in that.
You mean the video part?
Yeah.
So you're working with a content agency?
Yes.
Marketing? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. To film your product. Your jewelry is just so amazing.
Thank you so much.
I love it so much.
Thank you.
What does creativity mean to you?
I think creativity is not having boundaries, maybe opening yourself up to try new things and to fail if that's part of it, but to try new things and to push the boundaries and be different. I really think being different is special. I don't want my jewelry to look like everyone else's jewelry. I want it to be different, eye-catching, and special.
Awesome. Where can everyone find you and shop your looks?
You can find me at socialanarchydesigns.com. I know it's a mouthful. And that's also at Social Anarchy Designs on Pinterest and Facebook and Instagram.
And you're so generous because you're offering our listeners 15% off your beautiful designs. Amazing. So what is the code for that and how do they claim it?
Yes, shop at socialanarchydesigns.com and receive 15% off with the code CreativesRule. And thank you so much, Tracy. I really appreciate everything.
Thank you. And we'll have all those links in the show notes and everything so that you can shop Gia's designs and find her later.
Thank you.